We continue our tour of our preview of the Northeast 10 Conference on the basketball side of things, looking at the women's game right now. We're joined by Assumption head coach Carrie Fair in her 28th season in Worcester, and coming off, Coach, can I say maybe the best of those 28 this past year?
You absolutely can, for sure.
What did it feel like to put that kind of a season together, and how has that raised the bar heading into 2023-24?
Yeah, well, I think it was a historic season in so many ways. The first for us in, winning a Northeast 10 championship, hosting an NCAA tournament, going to the Elite Eight. So I was just so happy for the team. They had worked so hard and put so much into it, and for them to experience everything that came with that was just awesome. And I think the bar has always been high for us. So I think we're more focused on kind of day to day and getting better, and not looking too far ahead, and certainly not looking behind, and trying to move on to this season.
That being said, I do want to ask you one more question about last year, and then we'll look
Sure.
toward this season. But how did that happen? Like, what is the day-to-day that led to ultimately things coming together in the way that they did?
Well, I think it started in having probably 3 or 4 very average seasons, and we were all kind of sick of being average. As we had said, we'd set our goals really high and weren't reaching them. So it was a matter of our upperclassmen really making the choice that they wanted it to be different, and they changed things, and practice was different, and the attitude was different, and what they put into it. But I think the secret for us was just, it was all about the team. Nobody cared who scored. Nobody cared, who was on the floor. It was just about, our team's success. And I think that just showed, if you looked at our stats, our leading scorer averaged 11 points, and I think that was what made it hard to play us. It wasn't 1 or 2 people that you had to stop. It was different people every night. So, it was just that team atmosphere. They really played for each other and did it for each other. And it really showed when we got on the court.
All 5 starters last year averaged between 8.9 and 11.8 points per game. So everybody very much in that realm. You bring back most of them. Obviously, you do lose some key cogs, but you do have a significant chunk returning. How does that change the complexion of this team in terms of roles that are known and roles that are still up for grabs, and that will be determined in the lead up to the start of the year?
Sure. And I think every year is different, whether you lose 1 or you lose 5. I mean, we lose 2, but as you said, 2 significant starters, especially, on the defensive end. So, I think, as with every year, now it's an opportunity for other people to step up, right? You go home for the summer and you know that someone at your position has graduated, and there's a starting position open, and who's going to go home and do what they need to do. So we've seen some people, that have stepped up, and, I mean, we're certainly just in the beginning stages, but, we do have a good core group coming back for sure. But we definitely have some holes to fill, and there's a lot of opportunities for a lot of people to step in and fill those holes.
I want to ask you about one of the known commodities, and that is Molly Stokes, who was your leading scorer a year ago. But before I talk about the now for her, she's from Worcester. Do you remember the first time you saw Molly Stokes?
I do, and I actually went to watch someone else on her team, and
I feel like that's
just
always
saw,
how it happens.
yeah, and just saw this pure shooter and just this athlete. And when I talked to Sherry Levin after the game, I was thinking she might go at even a higher level. And when I talked to Sherry, she's like, she wants to stay close to home. She loves Assumption, and at that point, I had the biggest smile on my face. So I absolutely remember. Obviously, she played on that really good team with Aaliyah, and so she actually didn't play a huge role on that team offensively. And I think when she got here, we really had to explain to her that this was her time now, and she needed to be that shooter and that scorer, and not kind of look to everyone else. And luckily for us, she really, obviously her first year was COVID, and sophomore year she kind of struggled a little bit, but she really turned it around after that year, and she certainly is a key player for us.
Maybe what you said is part of this answer, but she made such a huge jump from her first year on the court to her second. What led to that? Like, how did that light switch get turned? And then what does that maybe foreshadow for what she could do jumping into this year?
Yeah, the switch that flipped was she was sick of sitting on the bench. And that's what she said. I don't want to sit on the bench. I don't want my family coming and watching me sit on the bench, and I want to contribute. And the effort that she put in that postseason, there was a complete difference to her in the postseason. And she went home for the summer. And when she came back, we knew she was a completely different player. So I think the confidence she gained from last year, she's already, developed other parts of her game that we already see now. So, I think she knows the importance, that she brings to our team offensively and defensively. And I think she's ready to definitely step up.
One of the other knowns that you have is a point guard. You can lose a lot of pieces, but if you have the point guard, it keeps things kind of steady and stable no matter what. Walk me through your strength at that position and how comfortable you feel.
Yeah, Amanda's the glue that keeps us together, certainly, and makes us go. We wouldn't have the transition game that we had if it wasn't for her. She's just so good at getting the ball out and setting other people up. And I think she's really improved her shot and her offensive game, and that continues to grow every year. And again, I think she understands, it's different this year, and we're going to need more from her. And she really, gets us going defensively. She's a great defensive player, and really, kind of motivates everybody else to really get their motor going defensively. But we all know that, Amanda needs to be on the floor, and, she really makes us go.
Let's talk about that defensive side. I feel like 9 out of 10 coaches, this is like the 4 out of 5 dentist thing. 9 out of 10 coaches say we start with our defense. Defense is most important. It's what we hang our hat on. And I've seen interviews where you've said that in the past. And then you pull up the statistics, and you guys led the country last year in both scoring and field goal percentage defense. Turn it around a little bit. I'm an offensive player. Why am I going to have a horrendous night when I take the court facing Assumption?
Well, we put a lot of time and effort in our team. They like to say the first 2 weeks of practice, we don't even use a basketball. That, I'm not sure what practice they're going to, but, I think that's just, when you're playing defense, you think there isn't even a ball there, right? But we put a lot of time and effort into it. For us, it's just, it's trying to disrupt the offense. You'll see we don't really lead anything in steals. That's not really our focus ever. We don't press. I think it's just that solid, disciplined half-court defense where, shots you take are going to be contested. When you try to get to the basket, there's going to be help defense. And so, we're trying to have people take contested shots they don't want to take, and try to limit those open shots. So, that's really the focus of our defense. And I give our kids a lot of credit. We put a lot of effort into it, and they spend a lot of time practicing it.
I want to wrap this all up by bringing it back to where we started, but not looking to the past, more so looking to the future. Having played in the Elite Eight, what does that experience do to set you up to do it again, or to maybe take that next step? How does being in that environment influence players in a way that you have to experience?
Yeah, I think it just you get that feel for what it's like to, I think I'll start with the NCAAs. To host was great, but to have the crowds that we did, and for our kids to experience that, was just amazing. And everybody wants to experience that again. They get that experience of playing in front of a crowd, of having that pressure. We started the season last year with no pressure. Ninth preseason, ranked ninth. But then as the season went on, the pressure really started to build. And for teams that had never been in that situation, we didn't have anyone on our team that had ever been in an NCAA game. So to host and now have that pressure, you're the number 1 seed, and to every night be able to accept that pressure and move past it, to be down by 13 in the finals and be able to still believe and come back, and then get to that Elite Eight and just understand, the level that's there. And, so I think for our returning players, that we've been in those pressure situations. We've handled it. We understand what it takes to get there and how hard it is. So I think it only helps moving forward. That last year where we didn't have any experience with all of that, now we have a large part of our team that has experience. So I think it's easier to fight through that adversity. You know what you're capable of doing, and and you know how badly you want to get back there.
Carrie Fair is the head coach of Assumption women's basketball. Congrats on the success of a year ago, and best of luck on repeating it in 2024.
Thanks, Joel. Appreciate it.